Hi everyone, welcome to the Lisa and Peep Show.
Wait a minute. Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen. I'm Jessica,
I'm Lisa.
trying to steal the show this week. I guess it isn't really Crocs in the Kitchen because there's only one Croc and then there's you and Peep and all the other shenanigans. But how are you doing this week, Lisa?
Oh, I think I'm doing very well actually. Don't want to, blow my own trumpet, but I think it's going just fine.
So you have gone back to work. The cafe that you work at, the vegan cafe, has opened back up. I know you guys were closed for what, like a week or 2 weeks
2
almost.
weeks. Yeah, we decided to treat ourselves to a proper break because well, it's been a bit much, hasn't it, recently? So yeah, we needed the break. So
I would like to just start off the show first off asking you a question. So, how has that transition of going back to work affected the progress that you've been making? And like, what kind of challenges have you faced with that? Because not only, getting into a different routine obviously can change things up a bit, but then you also have all the temptations of the amazing food that you guys make at Sacred Space, which I saw a donut on there. Oh, geez. Okay. What was it? Like a Bakewell donut? Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah, I think it was one that they made yesterday when I wasn't there, thank goodness. Bakewell tart's one of my favourites as well. That was a bit. I was a bit. Well, actually, how are you? Are you okay? I didn't even ask. I'm so rude.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Well, I just bringable, I'm actually doing pretty well. We just put up our what we eat in a week video yesterday, which was my big like first project that I really edited other than the videos I'm doing with you, which these ones are not too involved of an edit. The one that I did yesterday, I'm telling you, I spent days editing the whole what we eat in a week and all that with the blog post and the video. So that was like my little baby. So that was pretty fun. And I'm actually doing really well weight wise. I hit into the like 205 range yesterday, which was super exciting. So I think I've lost like another maybe pound and a half or so since we filmed the video before. But yeah, it's been it yeah, this year so far, I think I'm down about 5 pounds. So all in all, doing really well.
We're on track. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So last week I went back to work, and I was all right. Mine. What I was nervous about mostly was because in England we've had this surge in COVID and the new strain of the virus. I suddenly felt really nervous and anxious about going back to work because I knew I had to go to the supermarket as well en route for some bits and bobs. And I kind of had that, back to school feeling where you feel a little bit sick, but obviously it wasn't to do with school, it was to do with just the general pandemic anxiety. But then once we got going, it was fine. Once I got there, and it was nice to be back actually and have a little bit of structure to my days again because, as I said before, I've been in my pajamas a lot in the last couple of weeks. So, put some real clothes on and go outside. That was quite nice. But I knew that I would be facing some of the most uh, delicious, naughty, fattening, Moorish treats. So I knew I had to be strong, but I was determined not to slip. And actually, I did not touch one single fry in that place. I didn't eat a donut. I haven't even, well, I've been cooking burgers a lot, but I haven't even looked at making one for myself. And normally, we get to midday or in the afternoon and we're a bit peckish, we might make ourselves some fries, and then we've got the sriracha mayo on, and if you do that every day, you're going to be in trouble quite quickly. So
Yeah, and I think it's important. I saw some comments of people, saying maybe the cafe could offer some healthier options, which I know is something that you guys are trying to do and looking at definitely. But I think it's important to know, like, I still think it's good to have places like that where someone can go and have a really, really amazing vegan junk food experience because I don't know. I mean, I think some people can go and eat like their normal way all the time and never have like a special treat, but for most of us, we need something like that. And it's not like the people who come to the cafe are eating that every single day. And so it's a special treat for them to come out and enjoy that. And it's a really cool thing to show like all the amazing, tasty things that you can make vegan, and that you don't need to turn to eating animal products to get all these really delicious kind of, indulgent foods.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, it's just for fun food. It's not, we're not saying you should eat our food as part of your diet every single day, because, as much as we like people to come in and see us, we don't want people to suffer, with their health. But sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today, when you're like going, aha, aha. So I apologize if that's annoying, but that's where I am today. So
yeah.
So I did really well. Let me just check my list of things that I didn't do while I was at work. We've got some really lovely like turmeric lattes, a beetroot latte, and there was something else. Oh, I'm not keen on the matcha ones and things like that, but they're like, high in nutrients and things like that. So I treated myself with those and no added sugar in them. I have been having more hot drinks as a way to get past that point where you're thinking, that your cravings are kicking in. And I know that I've just had a meal and I shouldn't be wanting something else. So I've been having some more
Speaking
hot
of
drinks.
which, yeah, I like to drink my tea. That is exactly why I drink tea, because when I'm to the point in the day where I feel like I need something else to eat and I want something sweet or something like desserty, I'll just have like a nice little cup of flavored tea or something. This is just a plain Yorkshire Gold tea I like to drink while I talk to you because it reminds me of you.
You weirdo.
I'm creepy. I told Lisa the other day that I like to edit these videos because then I can just listen to her voice for a long time. I was like,
yeah, it wasn't creepy at all.
She
didn't make me feel a little bit anxious at all. No.
I'm not creepy. I'm normal.
And I've had a coffee every morning as well, just to sort of start getting me into that wake up routine.
A lot of people ask us about coffee, and I don't drink coffee, so I have no advice. So what do you put? Do you just drink it black? Do you put like soy milk, or what do you do with your coffee?
When I just make it at home, it's a very, instant freeze dried coffee. It's not fancy or anything, with water, and then I top it up with a bit of oat milk. I have the barista one, which probably has more added sugars and things in it, or maybe not added sugar, but maybe it's got oil in it. So there are things to watch out in these plant milks, that you might be getting added extra calories that you wouldn't necessarily realize. But it's not the same as eating a donut, is it? So if my treats end up being I have some extra milk, I'm not going to kick myself for that. I'll take that hit. So we had the turmeric lattes, we've got the beetroot lattes, and we do have matcha lattes, but I'm still not on board with matcha yet. I know some people absolutely love it. It's just a bit weird to me yet, but maybe my tastes are changing all the time. Like, I'm not craving the same grease and fatty, sugary things that I was a few weeks ago. Thinking about fries now, I'm like, meh, not bothered. Whereas before I was like, get in my belly, so.
Have you noticed that like the things you're eating start to taste better? Like to me, whenever if I get off plan and I start eating back on track again, after about a week or so, it's like everything just tastes so good. Even the things that, before, like just everything tastes better. I don't know how to explain it any other way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely tastes better. I think my taste buds were almost ruined from not eating enough of the right things. And now I've been on track. When we started in between New Year and Christmas with this, didn't we? So it must be about 2 weeks now, is it? It is 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks because we film these on Mondays and then post them on Fridays, just so you guys know. But we filmed the first one like the Monday after Christmas. So yeah, it's been 2 weeks since you started this whole thing.
And I think I heard once that your taste buds take 2 weeks to sort of rejuvenate again. So maybe in that time, I'm that's happened. And so I am looking forward to the more healthy things. Now I really feel like if I ate something really bad, I would have ruined it, and I would have let myself down a little bit. And I still have had the treats. I was just saying to you before, I've had these bag of chocolates that I put in the freezer, and someone in the comments actually said that putting chocolates in the freezer wouldn't stop her from eating them, and I have found that has happened with me as well.
And then you were like, oh, let me go in there and see.
Yeah, but they're individually wrapped, so I've let myself have 2 a day, and that has, because they're harder to eat when they're frozen as well, so that's good. But because I've known that I've had those little chocolates that they were there if I was desperate, but I haven't had as much peanut butter as last week, and I'd really cut down last week. So this week I've only had peanut butter possibly on 2 days, and it was a really small amount each time as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really getting keen on that now. And I was going to go to see the magical peanut butter machine in Hebden, but then I thought, yeah, that's probably a bad idea. I just need to gradually wean myself off it to the point where I'm not bothered about it at all.
Yeah, in the video we just posted every single morning in the what we eat in a week video, Brian makes a banana sandwich, and he used to put peanut butter on it a lot of times. And so we've had our peanut butter in the freezer and we're not using it, as we talked about earlier and one, I think the first episode of this series. But yeah, it's one of those things where Brian just like, I'm not going to eat it right now because I'm trying to be in, like, for him, he's trying to lose as much weight as he possibly can right now. And so he knows that that's just going to derail him a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's never going to eat it again. I did want to bring up, somebody said, which we've had, by the way, you guys, thank you for all the lovely comments that you've given to us. It's been so awesome just reading through the comments and suggestions, and just everyone who has enjoyed our interactions so far. But somebody said that we were overcomplicating it, and that you just need to, it needs to be simple. Just remove everything from your house that you're not supposed to eat and like whatever. But for Brian and I, that might be kind of possible. But can you talk a little bit about, I think some people asked too with Mike, does he, so Mike is primarily pretty vegetarian pretty much most of the time, right?
Yeah, he's vegetarian and nearly totally vegan. I know you can't have nearly totally vegan, because I believe that vegan is a way of life and not a diet. So when I say that, I kind of
in reference to his diet, what he eats.
So now at home, he's finally got on board with the oat milk in the hot drink situation, but he still does buy, chocolate and that's dairy and things like that. So that's quite good for me personally. I mean, it's not good for what I believe in, for the planet, but it's good for me because I won't touch anything that has anything to do with any animal products at all. So that's a good way. And like this week, he bought cheese and onion crisps or chips or whatever you want to call them. And he's like, I bought them because I know you won't eat them, to help. I'm like,
yeah. So it's like, instead of buying the accidentally vegan crisps, it's like, I'll buy the ones that say cheese on the package just to help Lisa out. That's amazing.
That have milk in the ingredients, because I know and to be fair, that works. And also he bought more white bread, but he said, I've hid them in the cupboard so you won't see them. So that is nice. But also I'm like,
wait, what was the thing the other day that he got some was it sticky toffee pudding?
Oh yeah, he bought vegan. We've got a small supermarket brand called Co-op, and that's usually got like a petrol station with it or something like that. But they do have their own stores, but they're generally like Aldi size ones, Lidl size ones, so they're like little shops. But they have a really good range of vegan stuff now. But it can include, pizzas and all different things, but like a lot of the bad stuff as well. And he came home with sticky toffee puddings that were vegan, and I was like that I haven't had sticky toffee pudding for years, and so I'm faced with this pudding now that's looking at me, and it's in the fridge. I'm like, anyway, the other night he's like, should we have that toffee pudding? I was like, yeah, okay. And then I went off to do something. And when I came back, I was like, no, I'm not having it. So he's had to eat them himself. So.
Oh, darn. Poor Mike.
But I made it through. And it's all these little changes of actually sticking to my guns and not being, waylaid by these things.
Yeah.
That are thrown
Well,
at
and
me.
I think it's important because there are so many different dynamics of, we get people who come to us who have people in their house who are totally not on board with what they're doing. At least with Mike, it's like he is mostly eats kind of similar to what you eat. And then, but just to know, like, hey, it's not all people like Brian and I who are eating the exact same thing. And you do face other challenges with that. But I do know that he's very supportive of you and, will be supportive of what you're doing. But in his head too, bringing home something like the sticky toffee pudding, to him, it's like, oh, I'll do something nice for Lisa and I'll do this. So it does take a while.
A reward.
I think it takes a while for people who you live with or who you're around to adjust, to realize, oh, they're doing something different now. That's not something, then maybe in the future he'll stop and think, ooh, that would be nice and she'd probably like it, but let's save that for like a special,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, there's been a million times before when I've said, I'm going to eat well and I'm going to be so good and I won't eat a single thing that's bad. And then when he comes home with, crisps and stuff just for himself, I'm like, where's mine?
Yeah.
So I have sent mixed signals before now. I've never been this focused, to be honest.
Yeah. But I think it's an interesting dynamic. Everybody I think is dealing with that kind of stuff. And it does. Yeah. I mean, there's so many times when before we started doing this, when I was like, I'm going to start a diet and I'm going to eat blah, blah, blah. And then, people are like, okay, Jessica, cool. Let me know when you want to go out and eat something, whatever. And it's just like, people don't necessarily know what your commitment level is. And so you have to I think the most important thing is you making it clear to the people that you're around and that you live with or whatever, that, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I know I've said this before, but I'm really committed to this. If you could help me out in these ways, and making that known to those people too, is important. But all of that aside, I think you're doing really well. I think that you're showing an example of, hey, I can make, some pretty big changes, really. I wouldn't say that you've made super small changes. You've made some pretty big changes, but it's not like you're 100%. And I like the fact that you say you're striving to be like 80% most of the time. And I think a lot of people shoot for 100%, don't hit it, and then just give up.
Yeah, because you think, well, I didn't do it, so what's the point? I think it's just that thing of setting yourself up to fail and then hating yourself for it. And it's stupid. It's your own life at the end of the day. I mean, I'm putting myself on YouTube here and, it's a little bit I make myself vulnerable by doing this. But at the same time, I need to hold myself accountable and actually do it this time. So it's the added pressure of doing this is making me toe the line and stick to it.
I mean, it can. I will say, like, there are times in the last couple of years where Brian and I have gotten ourselves off track, where, like, if we didn't have the YouTube channel and the accountability of being like, hey, we've got to show up in front of camera and, like, people look to us for inspiration, that does drive a level of accountability for us. But at the same time, sometimes you just are like, I just want to disappear and not share anything with anybody anymore. And, like, what have I done? But when, I went to the PO box today and got like a letter from Australia and like a letter from, when you hear those, I don't know, there's something about getting it in writing too. Like, hey, you've helped me out and, you've inspired me.
Really
that just makes it all worth it in the end for us. But yeah, so I know this took a lot for you to like put yourself out and be like, hey, and you came to me with this idea. I didn't bully you into this one, but when you said, hey, I'll come on and do some videos, like I really think you have such a relatable story to a lot of people. And obviously that's true because the comments have been, a lot of people saying, hey, I'm in a very
People
similar
saying lovely,
situation.
kind things as well, and really useful help. I tried to go through the comments to try and get the information that people have left there as well, because there are a lot of good ideas. And one lady had said about putting a sticker in your diary for every day that you did well. And I'm very driven by stickers still. I'm 41, but a sticker, yes. I like stickers. It's like going to the dentist. I've got a sticker. What are you on there? Actually, I've got this book that's got stickers. It's one of these diaries where you're manifesting and law of attraction stuff. I need to get into it, but that's got stickers in the book in the back, and I can't wait to get going with that.
Yeah,
for achieving goals and things.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that it's I think that what I like about having you on here is that you bring a different kind of spin on everything, where Brian and I, we have our story, but I like bringing other people's stories into the mix as well. So it's been fun. But let's talk about some recipes. So we both tried out the same recipe this week. I thought it would be fun if Lisa and I both kind of do recipe swap club or something, where we're like, hey, I'm gonna make this recipe and you're gonna make this recipe. It's like a book club but for recipes. And so the first one that we both made was this last week. We both made the vegan cheesy rice and broccoli casserole from Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy, which of course is by none other than Jill and Jeffrey Dalton from the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. And I loved it. It was freaking phenomenal. So first tell me how yours turned out, and did you follow? I know you're not really a recipe follow, you don't like to follow a recipe to the T. So what did you do for your casserole?
Well, first of all, I was a bit worried that I wouldn't love it as much. Not that recipes aren't good, but I do a lot of cashew cream type things. So I thought, oh, maybe, it'll just taste like what I make normally, Oh, I was wrong. That's so good. It was so good. And I wouldn't normally use brown rice, but I'd bought some a few weeks back when I was like, yeah, I'm going to be healthy. And then I left it in the cupboard and didn't touch it because it took too long to cook. Anyway, I thought, all right, well, first of all, get the rice cooking, and then it's a quicker job later on. And I made a lot less because it's quite a big meal that you're cooking there. It's huge. So I made a much smaller version. And I didn't exactly weigh things out, but the ingredients were there. I get the general gist of it. I see what it looks like at the end. And then I have made a lot of things like this in the past with the sauces, so I've got a good idea how they go together anyway. But there were a few ingredients that I would never have thought of putting in that just made it so tasty.
Yeah,
it was so good.
I
couldn't believe it because I laid it all up the same. Of course, I couldn't find my casserole dish, so it's in a it's in a cake tin. It's not a loose bottom cake tin, just a normal cake tin. So I baked it in a cake tin, which is supposed to be in some kind of Pyrex dish or whatever. Anyway, I laid it up and I poured the sauce on. I thought, well, I'll see what happens. And it was so different to what I've made before. And it was so tasty. And I gave myself half of it because it was only a little dinner plate size dish. But every time I walked past after that, I just kept getting the spoon and eating it as I went past in the kitchen.
That's funny.
So our kitchen's you walk through it for everything.
It was a winner. Delicious. Yeah. So for me, so Brian and I, we like to stick close as possible. I don't have a checklist where I try to follow every single guideline, but I have the basic guidelines still stuck in my head from the book Eat to Live, which the 6-week plan for maximum weight loss that Dr. Joel Fuhrman has in there. And it basically says that you should eat about 1 cup of, is it 1 cup? Yeah. 1 cup of cooked whole grains per day or starchy vegetables. So brown rice would fall into that. So we could have a cup of cooked brown rice per day when it's cooked, not obviously when it, if you put in a cup of uncooked, that would be a lot of rice that you'd be eating. So this recipe called for 2 cups uncooked for the entire casserole. And I figured usually when I do a 13 by 9 casserole dish, I split it into about 6 servings. So I was figuring, okay, 2 cups of uncooked brown rice is about 5 to 6 cups cooked, split between, 6 servings. That would technically still pretty much fall within us having, a cup of cooked per day, but then usually I eat like oatmeal, which also falls in that category. So I don't want to have too much of the brown rice. So what I actually ended up doing, and I will put notes in the blog post, every video that Lisa and I do, we have a blog post where we'll put links to resources and recipes and all that kind of stuff that we talk about in the video. So please check out that link below. But I will put more exact directions on what I did. So I actually used some riced cauliflower in place of some of the brown rice to, still have that bulk from the rice, but I did mix in some brown rice. And then, I actually used because the recipe calls for you to cook the rice in veggie stock, which I think gives the rice a little bit more of that, nice flavor. And since my brown rice was already cooked and the rice cauliflower was just like steamable frozen bags, what I did was I have like the concentrated better than bouillon. So I mixed some of that in with it, the equivalent of if I had made, the veggie stock separately. So it gave me that flavor without me having to cook it in that, obviously. So those were kind of swaps I did. I also added a lot more kale because I just had extra and I was just like, here you go. I love kale. Brian is like on the kale, but then I added extra broccoli too because I was just like, why not? So my casserole, by the time I was done adding all this stuff, I'll show some photos and videos of my casserole, but it was a giant casserole, and we enjoyed, so it was 6 servings, 3 meals for Brian and I. So that was definitely.
I just didn't get over how creamy it was in the bottom, because when you make the sauce, it's quite thin. But then when it sits with the rice, it's all just, I can't even describe it.
It's so weird. Good. It's weird too, because when I actually went back and watched the video, because that's the other cool thing about Jill's book is all of the recipes in here, there's like a little QR code in the corner. And you can scan it and it'll take you to her website where she has a video for every single recipe. And so I need to get you a copy. I'm having trouble figuring out, I need to figure out how to get you a copy of the book over there. But the good thing is all the recipes are also on her website. So I was able to send it to you for there. But yeah, I had to go back and watch the video because I was like, Brian, is this sauce supposed to be so watery? Like, is it going to work out? But when I mixed it in with the casserole, it was like, it all just worked. So yeah. So any other recipes that you're planning on making in the next week or so that maybe I could try out, or what are you thinking?
Well, it was Shirley in the comments said she thought that the oat clusters from Well Your World were really good for that moment where you're searching in the cupboards and you just want something, but you need to you just want a snack and you just want for the eating's sake, so they're quite good to have on hand. So I'm going to try and make those. Yeah, and you messaged with that other oat cluster video, but I haven't got any tahini in at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm trying to shopping down to a minimum just because of the COVID situation as well. So I'm
the one that I've been wanting to try. It's from Simply Quinoa, which I watched her videos. She uses oil in a lot of stuff, so you have to tailor it, but this one's actually oil free. It does have tahini, and I would probably cut back on she uses like maple syrup in it as well, which I would probably cut back on. But it's like a banana bread oat cluster kind of recipe. So I'll link to both of those oat cluster recipes. So maybe I'll try one of those out this week too. I'll probably try the Well Your World one out if you're going to do that one. The other one that I'm going to try out this week is, I got it on my clipboard already. It's called lasagna stew, and it's actually.
Oh yeah, I want to do that. You showed me that.
I watched Kim Campbell, who is Dr. T. Colin Campbell's daughter-in-law. She's married to Nelson Campbell, who did the documentary Plant Pure Nation, which is I watched it this week, actually. It was a really good documentary. We're actually interviewing them tomorrow for an episode of Brian's podcast, I'm Losing It, and also it'll be on our Crocs in the Kitchen YouTube channel as well. But she has a weekly cooking show, which I'll send you the link so you can subscribe, because she sends out emails. So she'll send out the email on Friday, and then that Thursday she makes the recipe live, and it would be like 1 a.m. for you probably. So you can go back and watch the replay video. But Kim made lasagna stew and it looked freaking awesome. So I think I'm going to try tackling this one this week. It has like a vegan ricotta cheese on top. Yeah. I think I'm going to go to the grocery store today or tomorrow. So I'll probably pick up a couple of things that I need to make that one. Anything else you've got going on over there?
Well, I was tidying up and I found my Cooking with Plants book. This is one of the first vegan cookbooks I bought several years ago when I went vegan, and she's always without oil. And
I know I see in the corner it says there's a little no oil symbol. I love that.
Yeah.
No oil.
And I just thought I really should look through this properly. So I'm going to have a look through and see if there's any good ones, and I'll send you them if I think let's have a cook off with this one, you know. And I was looking through, I bought the Slimming World magazine for this month, and there's some good like vegetable stews and a curry as well. It's actually a chicken and chickpea curry, but I thought, well, I'll just leave out the chicken then and just have a chickpea curry. So
yeah, and I think it's important people don't be afraid to look at recipes that are not whole food plant-based, and then after a while you kind of get used to like, oh, I can swap this for this. A lot of times, like some of the recipes that have oil in them, even like vegan recipes that have oil, the oil is just used to like saute the veggies or something. You could easily just saute them in water. You there are easy swaps that you can make. Now, if you're newer to this, obviously it might be a little bit, overwhelming for people who don't cook a lot, but don't be afraid to like make swaps and modify recipes. It is possible.
Yeah.
As Lisa knows.
I know what else I was going to say. My headaches have eased off a lot this week, because last week every day I had headaches, but this week they've eased off a lot. So I think I am coming through that 2-week transition where your body's gone, oh, what's going on? Oh my God.
Yes.
And then it's kind of getting there now. So I feel like I'm on track properly, and I feel like my mindset is that I wouldn't want to spoil it now. I'm on a roll, so.
Yes. Once you get the first week is hard. After 2 weeks, then you're like, okay, I'm not going to mess this up. So everybody out there who's still trying to get themselves on track, just hang in a little bit longer. And I promise, as you've seen with Lisa, like, you can do it. It just takes a little bit of, sometimes it's not an overnight thing for people. You have to like really get a couple weeks under your belt before you feel more confident about doing this and eating healthier. But yeah, anything else you got to add for today's show? I know we're going to always shoot for doing like 15, like this morning we're like, okay, we're going to do 15 minutes, and I don't even know how long we are now, but you know what? If people want to drop out at any point in the video, they can. I do try to do timestamps for when we talk about certain topics, so that if someone's interested in maybe hearing about the recipes, but doesn't care about the rest of the video, which obviously you should, they can check out the, different parts. I've been trying to do that on a lot of our videos so that people can skip to different parts. But yeah, anything else?
No, I think that's about everything I have to say this week.
I've been thinking about I have some really cool ideas of future videos that we can do. I thought it would be fun if we did like one where we kind of both maybe try to make a recipe together on like at the same time. That could be a train wreck. It'll have to be a really simple recipe. But I was thinking like it would be fun because we could put our ingredients out and then see how they differ from like you being,
I know what we could do. Yes. I will give you a list of ingredients and you have to make something out of it. And then you give me a list of ingredients and I'll have to make something out of it. Like when you do the Brian's surprise ingredients box.
It'll be a train wreck. Yeah. Or like maybe comparing like, grocery haul kind of stuff. I always find it interesting just to see what like, I'm obsessed with English grocery stores anyway, but I like to see what people get in different places, because it is different, and like it's interesting to see how things are different. But yeah, I have a million ideas. So but for this one, I think that's all we've got, and I'm going to do the little close here if I can remember what the heck I'm supposed to say. Peef is telling you, please subscribe. Please subscribe to this video. No, not to this video. I'm a mess.
Please subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe to the channel.
Below.
Leave a comment below if you like us, if you hate us, whatever you want to tell us. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, so you'll get, you can click the bell and then you'll get notifications when we post new videos. You can check us out on Instagram or Facebook or any of those lovely social media links that are in the thing. Check out the blog post because we have more links to resources and photos of things that we've talked about and all that kind of stuff. Hit the like button or the dislike button. And I think that's it. So we will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen. Bye.
Bye. Welcome to the show. Today on the Lisa and P Show, we're going to talk about